The Architect Matrix: How to Become Part of the Global Elite, and it's not about money. The general human population has been deeply conditioned to believe a fundamental lie about the nature of power. We are taught from birth that the ultimate hierarchy of our world is strictly financial. We look at billionaires, corporate oligarchs, and dynastic banking families, assuming that their position at the top of the food chain is maintained solely by the digital zeros sitting inside their offshore bank accounts. But money is a lagging indicator. Money is merely the fuel that a systemic machine consumes. It is not the engine itself. The true global elite, the fractional percentage of minds that actually dictate the trajectory of human civilization, do not measure their status by liquid wealth. They measure it by structural, cognitive, and epistemic dominance. To become part of this invisible echelon, you do not need a multi-million-dollar portfolio. You need to decode the hidden mechanical frameworks that manipulate the human species. To understand how real elite status is achieved, we must first analyze the concept of epistemic insulation. The global population is divided into two distinct classes: the users of reality and the architects of reality. The users exist inside an engineered information ecosystem. They consume algorithmic media feeds, participate in carefully curated political dialectics, and react emotionally to manufactured crises. They live inside what sociologists call a reality tunnel, a controlled simulation of current events designed to keep their brains in a permanent state of high arousal distraction. The global elite, however, practice absolute epistemic insulation. They intentionally decouple themselves from public information loops. They do not consume news. They analyze the structural motivations behind why specific news is being deployed. They don't react to trends. They study the statistical mechanics of the crowd. To enter this tier, your first step is to aggressively insulate your mind from the public sensory stream, shifting your status from an emotional consumer to an objective, detached observer. This insulation leads directly to the second non-financial pillar of elite status: cognitive sovereignty. In the modern era, the human mind has become a contested territory. Advanced machine learning algorithms are deployed every second to harvest human attention, map psychological vulnerabilities, and modify behavior at a planetary scale. The average individual has outsourced their thinking to these automated loops. Their desires, anxieties, and worldviews are completely algorithmic. A sovereign mind is the rarest and most valuable commodity on Earth. The true elite possess the rare capability to execute high-level cognitive decoupling. They can hold two entirely contradictory ideas in their mind simultaneously, without experiencing emotional distress, allowing them to look past cultural programming and see the raw, unedited architecture of global systems. They protect their prefrontal cortex from the toxic cortisol loops of the internet, preserving their deep analytical capacities to solve high-complexity problems that the distracted masses cannot even conceptualize. But cognitive sovereignty alone is passive. To translate mental independence into global influence, you must master the final pillar: systemic leverage. True power does not come from owning luxury goods. It comes from understanding and controlling critical infrastructure. The world is run by interconnected networks, logistics chains, energy grids, communication protocols, and legal frameworks. The non-financial elite are individuals who have made themselves structurally indispensable to these networks. They are the deep system engineers, the structural philosophers, the intelligence synthesizers, and the architects of protocol. When you understand how a complex system works better than the people who technically own it, you possess absolute leverage over it. Capital naturally flows towards systemic leverage. A person who can navigate a legal loophole, optimize a global logistics network, or write the foundational protocol for a decentralized technology holds a form of power that can bypass corporate boards and sovereign governments alike. Before we reveal the final, crucial step to establishing operational sovereignty over your own reality, consider the nature of the information you are listening to right now. If you are ready to permanently break free from engineered cultural narratives and want to explore the deep mechanical secrets that run our world, hit that subscribe button immediately and join Loop of the Unknown. Our single, uncompromising motivation is to deliver profound, structural insights completely hidden from the general human population. By subscribing, you actively transition from a passive user of reality into an architect of truth. Now, let us examine the ultimate threshold of the elite mind. The final transformation required to step into the global elite is the complete elimination of psychological externalization. The consumer class is defined by a dependency on external validation, external governance, and external rescue. They wait for political figures to fix systems, they look to institutions for moral direction, and they rely on corporate structures for survival. The elite mind operates on absolute internal alignment. They realize that institutions are inherently fragile, bureaucratic, and slow, and that real historical shifts are always driven by small, hyper-focused, intellectually sovereign nodes. When you stop looking at the world as a permanent, immovable monument and begin seeing it for what it truly is, a plastic, malleable matrix of feedback loops, code, and psychological incentives, the illusion of the global elite completely shatters. You realize that the elite are not a secret club protected by bloodlines or high-security vaults. They are simply the few human beings who woke up to the realization that the world is a construct, and that any mind capable of maintaining absolute cognitive sovereignty can step up to the drafting board and rewrite the rules of reality. This concludes our deep dive into the true mechanics of non-financial dominance. If you want to remain ahead of the curve and continue exploring the hidden automated systems, behavioral loops, and structural secrets that govern our existence, make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and join us for our next transmission into the unknown. Stay alert, keep your prefrontal cortex online, and we will talk again soon.